Okay, guys, we are live. Just a second, just let me check.
live on Facebook.
Okay. Yes, we are live.
Great.
All, good evening, good morning.
आदत हो गई है गुड इवनिंग करने की.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Today we have dynamic Bhavdeep Singh sir with us today for our Gyan on Maya. I would welcome Dr. Anandpal Singh sir, Dr. Anand Mohta. Good morning, everybody, and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, Abhishek. Good morning, everyone. So once again, a warm welcome to Dr. Bhavdeep Singh Ahuja, sir, for his second session in this series. So Bhavdeep Singh, sir, is going to be talking about financial record keeping and managing personal finances. I'm sure it is going to be a session full of lot of small little tidbits and lot of small things that we can do to improve maintaining our finances and making more money. At the end, I think so everyone wants to do that. So I invite his batchmate and his dear friend, Dr. Anandpal Singh, sir, to please give a brief introduction about sir, and then we can start off with the session.
Yeah, thank you, Anand. Good morning, everyone. This is second session on financial record keeping and managing personal finances. We had a wonderful session 2 weeks back, also on dental treatment charges, these troubled times, COVID-19 times. So Dr. Bhavdeep, I've known him from the first day of college roughly 26 years ago and seen him grow to gain and share his immense knowledge on finance, law, marketing, and bio-waste management. He's a triple MBA in hospital management, finance, and marketing from Premier Institute Universities. Also holds PG diploma in medical law and ethics, clinical research, cyber law, IPR, disaster management, and bioinformatics. He has over 125 original scientific publications to his credit in his national and international journals. He has lectured all over the country extensively on practice management, medical law, ethics, consent, and finance for dentists. His YouTube channel exclusively for the dentist is famous by the name of Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja, and he posts videos every week on these three topics for the upliftment of dental fraternity. He is into his 21st year of dental practice. Over to you, Dr. Bhavdeep.
Thank you, Team WDA, Dr. Anand, Dr. Abhishek, and Dr. Anandpal. Thank you, Anand, for a wonderful introduction. It is like a homecoming always when coming to WDA because the lockdown started with my first webinar, and again, I'm back with my 2 lecture series. This is the second part of the series. So just let me share my screen first so that we can begin the second part.
Sir, in this lockdown, we have learned so much from your webinars that practically implementing in our clinics has made it very easy for us, and it is generating now revenues. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abhishek. That was the actual aim because as Anand said, at the end of the day, the bottom line is that we have to earn money, and that is what keeps the ball rolling in our daily life and our say life cycle, if I may say so. So it is say privilege for me to be on WDA, the biggest online platform, to be sharing my knowledge amongst the August audience, comprising of all of you who have been very loyal and very say uh, uh, kind enough to be with me on a Sunday morning to share my to listen to my views, which I'm sharing with you guys. As Anant also said, I have my YouTube channel. I'll be giving the links for that. He already told you. I have a lot of YouTube videos. That is my way of paying back to the dental fraternity, a profession that has given me too much, much more than what I deserve. So as I always say when I say start my presentations also, my first thanks is always due to the Lord Almighty who's given me much more than what I deserve. And when it comes to finance, my big thanks is due to my dad as well, because it's courtesy his blessings and his guidance only that I'm able to share the dental version of finance with you guys. Of course, the CAs know much better than me or any finance guy. They know but to understand the dental scenario of say of an accountant or say the dental nitties which come handy to us has been of course my dad's blessing to me. So this is my brief biodata. Anandpal has already told you about it. So we'll be discussing mainly about financial record keeping and managing of personal finances. So this is the topic which actually Abhishek told me that, sir, you have to take the topic on these two. We were thinking of many topics, but he said practically, sir, these are the two topics. The first one we talked about, say, treatment charges, how to raise your treatment charges in the post-COVID scenario. And now next, the record keeping and managing that earned money. So he said, sir, this is the practical thing you have to actually deal with it. So we short it listed on these two topics. So for the next 1 hour 15 minutes, I'll be say delivering this to you guys. So this is a just brief outline of the topics I intend to cover: how to manage clinic income, how to maintain clinic records, salary of self, doctors and staff, income versus expenses, the bigger nemesis, expenses and overheads, are they the same, streamlining your expenses, calculating net profit, and how to take maximum benefit of your business expenses, planning your savings, how and by how much, the magical formula going by my name, and finally, where does the money go even after a handsome income, which is the most common complaint of almost all the colleagues. So let's begin the story in reverse. As many like Anand, we all are say have been raised on cricket and Bollywood. We were there in a digital media seminar where Anand and Abhishek were with me last night, and all the other admins of various groups. We actually discussed about the banes and the boons of the digital media last night. So we have been, say, brought up on Bollywood or movies, and I'll start the story in reverse. Like a normal Bollywood movie, which sometimes show you a first scene of the climax, and then the story goes into a rehash. I'm going to go do the similar thing today. So at the end of the day, what we all want: financial freedom. Whatever we earn, we at least have some security after a, say, lifespan or a fixed whatever we can say, the retirement age what we set for ourselves can be 50, 55, 60. Yes, I'm not saying that you stop working after that, but you can choose to work at your leisure. You can choose to work at your own freedom, so that you actually have money flowing in. So that is the way, or that is the say bottom line we look at financial freedom. So as say we always say, some people come out of their retirement, Mahesh but also did the same after 21 years when he, say, directed Sadak 2. His last movie was Duplicate with Shah Rukh Khan in 1999. But a guy who has given us movies like Earth, Saransh, Daddy, Sir, comes down to such a level that the movie is almost like a headache. So I will try that my second, say, session is not such a headache for you, at least to have some, say, nitty gritties understanding of the same. So when it comes to financial record keeping, we have to understand that what records we maintain for patients are entirely different from financial records. Patient record keeping is for DCI regulations. It is as per the DCI revised regulations 2014. Yes, apart from other reasons of measuring your tangible growth, which is the only way. The numbers and the figures are the true indicators of many things. So they only actually tell us how to grow and how to measure the same. But financial record keeping is to be done for the sake of the other institution, the income tax department. Yes, again, that also is a pattern to measure the growth part as well. So the basic record keeping, what the income tax department mandates for a dentist, is the simplest form of a format 3C. A simple form number 3C, equivalent to a register D in a manual format. You might be acquainted with that register D, which you might have been buying for keeping your manual records. These days, it is the time of digital media. It is the time of digitalization of dentistry. So we need to actually understand that these things are going to make a difference. So a digital record by the name of Form 3C, having just 5 columns: date, serial number, patient name, the nature of the service rendered, fees received, and date of receipt. This is the basic format to be maintained. Any system of accounting you follow, any system of ITR you follow, this is a mandatory in that. Even in a presumptive system, even in a normal conventional system, ITR 3 or a presumptive ITR 4, you where the self-employed like us, most of us have to maintain their records in such a format. What I have done is to actually modify this a bit. So I'll be showing you that as well. So let's understand the receipt book thing. Receipt book is or say receipt is a small slip which you can say दान पात्र या दान पेटी की पर्ची के size की receipt. That is basically to say give the patient the receipt for the money they have paid. It is not the treatment bill. It is like a journal receipt of payment, say a book kind of a thing, which is to be maintained with basic columns of your KYC. What is mandatory over here is the registration number to be mentioned as per the DCI regulations. Apart from your KYC, as I mentioned, your name, phone numbers, emails. Yes, if you want, you can write your website as well. Then date, receipt with thanks, the sum of rupees, the mode of payment, the date, and transfer from drawn on if it is a bank draft check or say net reference number if you have to do, then account of dental treatment charges and signature and stamp. So this is the small receipt book for the payment anyone makes. Why is this mandatory? As per the say IT Act also, IT Act 1961, any payment, any receipt above rupees 25 has to be issued. And we being dentists understand that there is no treatment that we do say in rupees 25. So that means we have to issue receipt for all. So this is a way to actually say go about this task of issuing the receipt. This can be issued in digital format also. I'll come to that. Then this is the invoice or bill or cash or the total consolidated bill. So what is actually mandatory over here? Your logo, your KYC, again, your say registration number is mandatory. Name, age, sex of the patient, address, then the memo number, which is to be there, dated. And then this will have all your details of the payment, not your treatment details. Treatment details you can mention separately. You can say write a line over here in a bracket, treatment details attached separately on a prescription pad. Here you will write the payment details, whatever payment you have made. Let's suppose, let me go back this slide. Let's suppose a patient has got a treatment done for rupees 20,000. He paid you 5,000 each in 4 installments, and the receipts dated are, let's suppose, 1st April, 5th April, 10th April, and 15th April, just to simplify. So he's paid you 5,000 respectively on these 4 dates. So what you will write here, this is, you have issued 4 receipts. The receipt can be, let's say, the receipt number on 1st April was 101. The receipt number on 5th April was maybe 110. On the 10th of April, it was 120. 15th April, it was 125. So these are the 4 arbitrary receipt numbers I am allotting. So once you are issuing the treatment bill to the patient, yes, you can write over here, treatment received, wide payment, wide receipt number 101, 5,000, wide receipt number 1110, 5,000, wide receipt number 120, dated of course along with dated 5th April, dated 10th April, and so on. So all those 4 payments of 5,000 have to be added over here, making it a 20,000. This is the composite bill. This is the bill. This is almost a A4 size, as that I mentioned is a daan purchase kind of a size of a say receipt. Almost say 1/4 of this size. This is almost a A4 size receipt. So remember, very important is to mention 2 things: customer signature, which you have to take it, because the receipt book is usually in duplicate. The 1 copy is issued to patient and the duplicate you have. The bill book or the invoice is in triplicate. It has 3 copies. So make sure before you issue it to the patient, you take the customer signature or the patient signature over here. Then E and OE is a mandatory aspect to be written. Errors and omissions accepted. That bhool chuk maaf, which we can call in Hindi, that some things are arbitrary. Of course, it doesn't stand that logic in the code of law, but yes, this is a part of the process which you have to do. So don't write your treatment details over here, root canal done on this, root canal done on this. That you can write separately on your prescription pad with the treatment details, date or not a date. Or say if you have done a root canal, you don't need to mention the root canal opening, root canal dressing, root canal preparation, root canal obturation. All those things you don't have to write. Just write the root canal treatment done from this date to this date. You don't need to do that, because this is actually a reflection of what you have charged. Let's suppose you have charged, say, 4,000 for the root canal. You've done 2 root canals, and that makes it 8,000 roughly. And then you have done 3 crowns for say 4,000 each, make it 12,000, and the total comes to 20,000. So for the 2 root canals and the 3 crowns, the time period might have been different, but the time period treatment done from this date to this date is to be written over here, and along with the breakup of that. So now, what exactly people always say, should we maintain this format, form number 3C, or the register format? I always encourage a digital format. Why do I say so? Because there is a reason for that. This is a modified form 3C for similar reasons. I normally issue this kind of receipts. This is for my own record. Sorry, I normally issue this kind of receipt as a e-receipt. What I mean by e-receipt is that the similar format, I am making an entry into my system that this is the e-receipt which I am actually issuing to the patient. Let's suppose I have allotted a number, a serial number in my computer also, and that goes by say 101, E102, or whatever number. So I issue an e-receipt to the patient, but there are some kind of patients who will not trust the e-receipt. Nothing wrong in it. Some people have their own mindset कि कंप्यूटर की पर्ची पे receipt नहीं विश्वास कर सकते, मैनुअल पर्ची दो, receipt दो. That is the way sometimes they respond. So this is the receipt you have to issue. But remember, you have to collate, mix and match, merge both the entries over here. Now see this thing. Similar entries: date, serial number, patient name, nature of services, fee received, date of receipt. Then e-receipt number, if any, manual collating, if any. What does it mean? I'm issuing all the receipts in my system. Date of receipt, let's suppose the 1st April we have taught. This is E001. Let's suppose I have say e-receipt, I have kept the serial number as E001. That patient says, that patient whom we say charge 5,000 on 1st April says, मुझे manual receipt भी दो. Issue a same over here and collate it manually. Collate it manually. E001 will be equivalent to receipt number 101, or manual one, M101, or normal 101. Just make sure, because every patient will not be demanding the manual receipt, but you have to issue them a receipt number. So remember, you collate both the entries, because let's suppose your first patient 001 took a manual receipt, and the next patient till the 5th of April, till the same patient was back, didn't ask for any receipt. So what we'll do, the second or the say this entry over here, we are issuing receipts over here. Let's suppose there are 10 patients and he's the 11th patient on 5th of April. So we'll put an entry E011 or E11 is the entry number, and parallel number would be 102, because as I've supposed in this scenario that no other patient needed a manual receipt. So this is the way we actually collate both the entries. You don't have to issue double receipts. Just mix and match, or manually say merge both the things, so that the issues or the entries are actually clear to you at the year end, so that there is no. And some people say, sir, it is a very common scenario that the bills can be fuzzed, or the say receipts can be fuzzed in e format. ये किसने e-receipt cannot be say merged into this. So we have to understand this part. It cannot be, because once you're collating this thing, your entries will change. And the e-receipt and the manual entries will remain the same. So we discussed in the last week webinar about the treatment charges, how to actually raise them. So I gave you a brief introduction about the expenses and the overheads part as well. So remember, whatever you're charging, you have to actually show that in your records. That is very mandatory, very much mandatory on say on income tax department side also, and for reducing our own headache also. There is another common scenario which people ask me, sir, e-receipt क्यों issue करना, सबको यही number issue कर दो. And if you are having 15-20 patients in a day, let's suppose, will you be doing all the manual say receipt reduction, and how will you collate it? How will you go on searching the entries later on if you need to say revisit those entries or reissue a bill to someone? So remember, this is a better format where you issue a e-receipt number. Somebody who is not comfortable with only e-receipt, just issue a manual receipt as I showed you, and you just collate these two entries so that they are not mixed and matched. And so, and once even one entry is there which is mixed, you actually will realize that you can't actually fudge the or say change the accounts also or make any changes. So as I said, the treatment charges part we have discussed last week. I gave you a brief introduction about the expenses and the overhead part. And as I said, expenses and overheads actually decide the profit. And one statement I had made that loyal staff and loyal associate is a big overhead for any clinic. What happens? Why do I say so? Let's suppose somebody joined you as a assistant or an associate. Let's suppose 10 years back. I'm just taking a medium level clinic. Somebody joined you 10 years back and turned out to be a good employee. So as a good employer yourself, you have been making an annual raise and you have been actually giving them incentives as well, giving them good perks. So presently, let's suppose after 10 years in 2020, they are at a salary which is or say much higher than the prevalent market price. And suddenly the COVID-19 catastrophe strikes. Now you are stuck. You don't want to get rid of those employees because they have been loyal, they have been wonderful, but their overheads or their salaries or their package is too big that you actually cannot say expect the same that you can if you are not supposed to pay from your pocket once the clinics were say closed for almost 2 to 3 months. Even they're closed at some places till now when the lockdowns keep on happening. So we have to understand the logic between the expenses and overheads. So the pertinent question over here is, do you pay yourself a salary? How much margin you find as gratifying? सुबह शाम दिन रात गधे की तरह काम करते हैं, slog day in day out. What actually are we say aiming for? How much we want to carry home? As I said, we have presumed in the 8 scenarios that I gave you in the last webinar. So don't worry if you missed out on the last webinar. It is there on WDA page. It will continue to be there. It will be on my YouTube channel. It will be on WDA YouTube channel as well. So you have 3 places where you can watch it. So don't worry if you missed out last week. So these all webinars will be available over there. I don't believe in deleting them. So let's suppose we had presumed a 50% carry home, the average which is allowable or the average figure. It can be 40, it can be 60, but the average we presumed at 50%. But what is the gratifying figure in that? How do we actually arrive at that figure? As we have presumed that, let's suppose we are earning approximately average 2 lakhs a month, and then 50% of those expenses would be 1 lakh. So let's suppose 1 lakh would be your all clinic expenses, lab, associate, assistant, your materials, your all kinds of other overheads, which I'll be discussing also in the coming slides. So what is left is approximately 50%. Again, as I said, the figure can be 40 to 60, but I've taken the figure on the conservative side to be on 50% or the average side, I will say. So is that a good enough a figure, 50%? So we had applied the Pareto principle of 80-20, which I had discussed in the last webinar, to say price raise in our charges. And if we apply that principle, we had seen that even if there is a drop in sales, which is most likely the scenario in the post-COVID scenario, the loss in carry home won't be much if you increase your charges based on that principle and the formulation that I gave you in the last webinar. So let's come to the expenses and the overhead part. If we see the numbers for costing as an example in a table in a normal dental clinic, many people had asked me this query after the webinar. Sir, how do you calculate the expenses? How is that overhead calculated? Let me just give you a tempo. I just told them to wait for the webinar because many questions would be answered in over there. Still, if they are not answered, please feel free to post them. I'll be very happy to answer them. So this is the table. Again, the figure has been presumed by me as the same. The 2 lakh is the gross figure, average monthly gross collection. As I said, the gross collection means the total money you receive in your practice per month. It is not the net, it is the gross total receipt. Then if we say the staff salaries are 30%, 15% contribution to the overhead, then lab costs are 20%, 10% contribution, materials 10,000, the occupancy like rent, utilities and other things maybe 5% approximately. Then administrative costs, depreciation, accounting, dues 10,000, marketing 6,000, personal improvement via continuing education for 14,000, 7%. So this is the way we have approximately arrived at a figure of 50% and 1 lakh out of that 2 lakh. Just revisit those figures once again. The staff 30,000 at 15%. Again, these are rough figures. These can vary from clinic to clinic. Some might be having a higher figure in the rent section. Some might be having a say lower figure in the staff section. So some might be having a figure, a higher figure in the material section as well. So it is up to you how you actually say take how is your clinic say doing this thing. But my way of telling you is to basically, as I said in the treatment charges part of webinar as well, my way is to tell you to be aware of these figures and numbers so that you can create a roadmap for yourself. Depreciation is a cost. We need to understand whatever thing you have bought, any furniture, any electrical equipment, any say dental machinery, any other equipment which you are using has a WDV, which we call as the written down value, या उसको बोलो हिंदी में बोलूं तो घिसने की कॉस्ट, जो उसको यूज करके वियर एंड टीयर बोलते हैं हम लोग, घिसने की कॉस्ट, that is also a cost because 6 to 7 or 8 years down the line that thing would have to be rebought, repurchased again. Where would that money come from if you're not considering the depreciation cost? So remember, this is also an important part. Then again, improvement of yourself, continuing education, it is not to update yourself is an unethical act as per the say revised say DCI guidelines amendment dated 19 September 2018. Not to update yourself via continuing education is an unethical act. So as per the table, overheads or expenses are in the range of 50% and the carry home is 1 lakh. Again, we have presumed that 50%. So as I say, items 5 to 7 may vary but contribute almost the same. These may vary. Again, these also can vary, but ultimately you will arrive at a figure of close to 50. Again, the range can be 40 to 60 depending upon the clinic size and the employee number in your clinic, but the average contribution would be in the range of 50%. I'm keeping it 50% because in the last webinar also we have presumed the figure at 50%, and in income tax department wise, say presumptive taxation, even your all expenses are presumed at 50%. Even if I may say so, I have done conventional IT, say ITR filing since 2016-17 till Mr. Jaitley, late finance minister Mr. Arun Jaitley, uh, introduced this presumptive taxation in 2016-17. So even before that, my expenses used to be in the range of 45 to 55. So even if they were 55, I'll presume I'll preferably take them at 50 because in bargain for that 5% extra, I have a huge amount of benefit. I get a freedom from the book of accounts. I get freedom from my CA. I get freedom from filing 4 installments of advance tax and many more advantages. And top of that, it is the simplest ITR 4, which is there. Apart from the KYC, there are practically 6 to 7 columns to be filled in, which is hardly anything. And the only thing required is to make a balance sheet, which normally say people learn in a day or so whenever I take a workshop. So another way is to prepare the balance sheet. As I said, to look at the balance sheet prepared by your CA. Of course, till now your CA has been doing it. So understand the various overhead categories and understand your income and expenditure. I gave you a rough figure of the chart. You can revisit these slides, and now look at the IT language, say income and expense sheet. As we say, income and expenditure, or the P&L account we call as P, profit and loss. It is known as a P&L account in income tax language. Just see on the right side is it is an income part. All of you who have been filing ITR would be having these 2 pages known as the balance sheet or say income and expenditure account. These are 2 A4 size pages which are mandatory for every say guy who is filing the ITR. He has to maintain those. So just see on the left side your expenditure or the overheads part. Medicine and dental items, lab charges, rental charges, water sewerage charges, all these charges for your clinic, not for your residence. Water sewerage charges, municipal taxes, electricity charges, bank charges, telephone expenses, assistant salary, IDA subscription, miscellaneous cleansing expenses, printing and stationery, enhancement of knowledge, website development charges, all these are clinic expenses. Add to it depreciation of your fixed assets. 328,000, 3,28,000 plus 73,000, roughly make it 4,02,000. This is the actual, say, income sheet which is showing you your expenses. So you have to check out which heads are costing you more. The bottom line aim is to actually control your income and control your expenses. Since the problem is that in COVID and post-COVID times, the incomes have fallen down. If not, they have not risen, of course. Maybe in some clinics they are at same level, but in majority clinics they are at a lesser level. So if you have to, as we presumed in the last say webinar, if you have to carry home the same amount, you need to know actual numbers. So you need to cut down on your overheads. You need to cut down on some of your expenses, rents, bills, materials, inventory, whichever way you have to cut off. Yes, of course, you can say dental materials are not being consumed since there are less patients, or we are having some materials in our stock, and then there are no patients or less patients, we have no lab bills. So you have to make sure that yes, the balance is maintained, but you may not be requiring dental materials more, but your say sanitization and disinfection equipment, along with your other armamentarium, uh, even your inventories like your HEPA filters or any ones you have bought or are planning to buy, UV lights, whatever you, if you're planning to buy, they also will come at a cost. As I've explained it in the last, let's suppose a HEPA filter comes at the cost of 1 lakh. Let's suppose it is at 1 lakh. And if you buy it now, you will not add 1 lakh in your total expenses. Only most of the dental and the medical equipment come with a say depreciation of 15%. That means you will add only 15% of that 1 lakh, which is 15,000 in your expenses. That is the WDV or the written down value of the same. Remember that. And when I say about, you say I don't require material, since I bought recently in Expo in Delhi. North Indians do that a lot of shopping in Expo in Delhi, since it is the say mother of all exportants. Whichever city they are held, Bombay, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chandigarh, say, and many, and Kolkata and many other places in India. But Expo in Delhi held around Christmas is the biggest, is say the mother of all exports, which is held all over India. So this year's, of course, it has been postponed. Just received a notice 3 days back. So if you have bought in bulk of material, this is the time to revisit your drawers, revisit your clinic refrigerators. You will find that material expiry is one of the biggest thieves, along with the wastage of material by your assistant. This is the actually a scenario, again a topic for some other day in full depth, wherever you can actually we can talk about this. But material expiry, some materials we have bought in hope that agar do patient bhi aa gaye to apne paise pure. So that is where the pitfall lies. We have to be actually aware of all kinds of our expenses, which which numbers are contributing to which category. So the along with this side, along with the management of the other expenses, the material management becomes an important or a vital part. As I said, we buy in optimism, say hope of say consumption. We buy huge chunks of material, like a Amazon sale or a Big Bazaar sale. We buy it because it is selling cheap. We take bulk deals. You have to understand. Let's suppose, as I mentioned in my last webinar also, that let's suppose your annual consumption of a flowable composite is, let's suppose, 12 units or 12 syringes, and you were getting a bargain deal at say 20 syringes. You were getting it for the price of say 16. You were getting, or say 16 or 17, you were getting about say 30% off. So that is the way, that is the in hope you bought that. And then COVID-19 struck. From March to August, even your normal requirement of those 5 months was not fulfilled. So how do we expect to use the additional bought material? So that additional bought one and a half, more than one and a half scenario becomes a liability for us. This is the thing actually we have to understand. And these things will require more importance in coming, coming months and years. We have to actually be aware of all the costs. There are 16 kind of costs which are applicable to us: cost of storage, cost of pilferage, cost of deterioration, cost of obsolescence, cost of shelf life, say, and many more. So we are actually blocking our money and storage space with same. So open your drawer of clinic or the clinic refrigerator, you will find many materials lying unused. So economically speaking, you are actually blocking your shelf life also, and blocked your money which could have earned interest in your bank. Learn to understand it this way. What is the thing? Bottom line, I started from the climax slide. Financial freedom. Financial freedom will come only if you invest properly for your retirement. I'll come to that. Then financial freedom will come if you invest on your retirement. And for retirement, you have to have surplus money. And for surplus money, you have to carry home more and show more as well, of course, because once you show more, then only you can invest. You can't invest in black. So you have to show more and you have to earn more as well. So once you earn more, what is the way? Either you increase your input costs, your charges that we discussed last time. But if the OPDs are falling, you don't have a control over there. What factor do you have optimum control on? The income or the expenses or the controlling of these things. So manage your inventory effectively and be more profitable in the business of dentistry. You need to understand the basics of setting reorder levels and economic order quantity. So these are the terms we learn basic management part: to set reorder levels, to know your consumption patterns, where how much time your syringe lasts. Accordingly, take into the lead time. Lead time is the transportation time it takes to, because you might be sitting in a big city, tier 1 city. Some of the colleagues might be in tier 3, tier 4 cities, those who are not having a dealer close by. And with this COVID pandemic going on, the couriers and other things are delayed as well. So you have to undertake take into mind the lead time or the transportation time as well. Then the economic order quantity, the bare minimum order which will not cause you loss if the consumption is more, and will not cause you profit as such. You don't lose out if the consumption is not there as well, and if the consumption is there, you don't lose out if there is more of patients of that level. So the system is to actually go about that task. So the cost versus expense and the price versus cost has to be remembered very, very effectively. So because the way we decide our expenses decides our eventual profit, because that is the bottom line aim. So an apt control of your inventory will tell you, because as we discussed in the last scenario, you might be a periodontist, but your primary income is coming from your crown and bridge. So what do you need to invest in? You maybe need to invest in a digital impression, in armamentarium, or maybe a scenario difficult to that. You might not be actually having a surgical thing requirement. So you might not be buying a piezoelectric unit or a similar one. So you have to understand that you don't go according to your speciality. That was the carry home point of the last webinar. Remember, what are your selling points? What is your income coming from? Identify those 20% areas which are contributing to 80% of your income. So don't go by the want scenario. Don't get lured when you come across a good expensive material which you're really fond of buying, which you have been yearning for buying, but you don't have any patience for that. So if, as I said, open up your drawers, you will find so many materials costing small to medium, but they are multiple in number. And if you just add their total cost, it makes up a huge sum. It sometimes adds up to say 1 to 2 months of your expenses, up to 1 to 2 lakh rupees, as we presume the figure. So we were actually thinking that agar ek ya do patient bhi aa gaye to apne paise pure. The aim is not that. The aim is to earn profit. If you are not earning profit out of it, that material is actually contributing doubly. It is occupying space, it is and getting expired, and you are not earning any revenue on it, and you block the bank finance on it. I merged 4 points in 2 points. Do understand this? You are not earning from it. You blocked your revenue, and your bank, you have blocked your finance also. So your money is not actually earning out of it. So remember this part. So colleagues crib that even if who crib that they don't have even expenses covered in their monthly income, seriously need to think about their overheads. A common cribbing thing is there. कुछ बचता ही नहीं है, खर्चे ही नहीं पूरे होते हैं. That is where we need to realize खर्चे पूरे कहाँ से होंगे. हमने शाही शौक पाले हुए हैं. शाही शौक means investing in such materials. Again, not getting into personal life, but getting into the that 50% of the clinical life or the clinical expenses I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about your personal life. Shahi shock of what I mentioned over there. We are fond of say splurging on materials. We are fond of indulging in a FOMO approach. We are fond of indulging in a Facebook buy spree. Somebody posted a good say a root canal which might not be a forte, which might not be contributing to your 80% income. It might not be into your 20% category of services, but still you are actually buying armamentarium related to that. What is that? Facebook induced buying. You have to strongly resist this in this scenario and the post COVID scenario. You have to actually understand this very clearly. So every patient and every money making task contributes to clinic expenses, and economics is not that difficult to understand. अगर हम डेंटिस्ट हैं, हम डॉक्टर हैं, वी हैव स्टडीड पीसीबी, डज नॉट मीन दैट अकाउंट्स नहीं पढ़ा है तो वी डोंट अंडरस्टैंड इकोनॉमिक्स. इकोनॉमिक्स इज ऑल अराउंड आवर, फिगर्स एंड नंबर्स आर ऑल अराउंड अस. So we need to really understand this part. And overhead is a key factor in any business, and dentistry can't be an exception. So as I gave you the figure, you can say revisit this video. I gave you a chart, I gave you an example of that 50% breakdown of the overheads. Look at the various heads where you can make your adjustments accordingly, and thereby you can identify opportunities where you can actually decrease your unnecessary expenses which have been contributing to your expense part and decreasing your profit. Remember, if you decrease your expense, your carry home will increase. Actually means it increases your profit. I'm not saying you to cut down on basic things. I'm telling you to cut down on your adventure buys, your bargain buys, your say FOMO approach, your YOLO approach, say guidelines. You only live once, it is called. So understand the average monthly cost and the corresponding revenue. As I gave you in the last webinar, those 20%, the record keeping, as I said, there are multiple benefits of record keeping. The record keeping actually tells you which are your services which have been contributing to your revenue. I gave you an example last time. Let's suppose your income of the month is 1 lakh rupees. Let's suppose you have 100 patients. Just for the ease of simplification, I'm presuming the round figures. So you will strangely say happy to find that 20 out of those 100 patients have contributed to 80,000, and the remaining 80 patients paid you 20,000. So make a successful financial dental clinic model, because a limited overhead means a larger take home income from your dental clinic. Where does the money come? Where does the money go? You don't understand. This is the way we have been doing it. We need to really go about that task. Wi-Fi to nahi hai. So the best way to decrease overhead is to have a strong system in place. The proper form of accounting process to keep track of profit and loss. So without the above, decreasing the overhead is surely a bumpy ride. So this is the demo account as I showed you before. All your income and expenses sheet. You really need to actually say have a strong understanding of this, because that is the way you can go about. Then just see the various categories. As I showed you, municipal taxes, electricity, bank charges, telephone expenses. Just analyze those, all those expenses, all those categories. List them down, analyze and evaluate where you need to make the cutbacks. And just as I said, create a successful financial model. And once a system is set, it will actually tell you you have to say which direction you have to head for, and whenever things go wrong, and thus make a recalculation if your profits are decreasing. So if the clinic overheads are in, sorry, if the clinic overheads are in the range of 50%, you means whatever comes in your clinic, you carry home rupees 50 of every 100 that comes as a gross collection. So we had presumed that even if the revenue goes down by 20%, your carry home will drastically reduce by 40%, which is a significant drop. You can't actually afford to live in 60% of the carry home amount. So overhead is sometimes a choice of how to operate. We had actually not taken into account a few scenarios last time. I had reduced the proportional income along with that. I mentioned it very clearly that I have supposed this part, but overall there are fixed expenses and variable expenses applying. Fixed are the ones, the rent, salaries, bills, which will keep on coming even if the clinic is open or even if the clinic remain closed due to COVID-19. The variable bills can be, say, volume of your patient care, uh, lab bills, your material bills, your consumption pattern. And in places like North India, we have a higher electricity bill for 6 months of the year. Then the ACs run almost 24 hours in our place because the temperature touches almost 50 degrees. So the more lab work we have, the higher will be the cost. But higher increase in the lab cost will not always increase in output and revenue. It depends upon your treatment charges. A normal prevalent market PFM price may be 35 to 4,000 or 3,500 to 4,000 rupees, but you might have been charging 2,000. So somebody who's doing half the crowns as men as are doing is actually carrying home more than you. Plus, he is not burning his back and neck like you. So the treatment charges and the overhead balance has to be maintained. Then, as I mentioned at the start, about the staff overhead, which becomes, say, a big overload in the established clinic. I gave an example of a 10-year-old. So in a scenario like this, uh, these guys keep on getting a raise every year for their retention purpose. Obviously you are also happy because they have taken a lot of, say, weight off your shoulder. But in this COVID-19, we had a catch 22 situation. You can't actually ditch your loyal staff. And anyways, loyal staff is very hard to find. And you can't downgrade the salaries as much or pay them less. So the solution is either the income increases, which is actually highly unlikely in immediate post COVID-19. We are still not over from post COVID-19, and many are still saying that the peak is yet to come. If the peak is yet to come, we are not in for very good times in the coming days. So, or the other way is to decrease in your overheads other than salary, whatever you are earning, coupled with the increase in treatment charges, which we had discussed in the last scenario. So you have to watch both the webinars in sync again to actually digest what I'm trying to say. So the solution for such a loyal staff would be to actually say shift to an incentive system till the routine income and regular OPD normalizes, so that at least some financial burden can be taken care of. This is the way actually, because unless you understand your figures and numbers, you can't actually grow, say, in terms of money. So the decrease in expenses would come either from decrease in materials or inventory, which were always on our wish list. And as I said, they're courtesy the social media dentistry and a strong urge to copy each other. So common saying goes, control the inventory and control the profits. So inventory control means actually stocking adequate number. As I said, the economic order quantity, so that materials are available whenever required and wherever required. So volume discount, bargain buys, as I said, you can treat it as a good option. If you're getting a good deal, you can treat it as a good option. But remember, you have to use this option when along with you have multiple colleagues of the same mindset, so that you get the benefit of the volume as well in decreased cost, and you don't overstock as well. You say the hoarding of the, say, stock or the armamentarium and the blocking of the cash does not happen. So always prefer to buy items in small consignments as possible. As I said, resort to economic order quantity, a particular quantity at which ordering and inventory cost is the least. and that is known as the economic order quantity. So the broad aims and objectives of inventory management is maintain availability of materials whenever and wherever required in optimal quantity, minimize the ineffective stock, optimize the various costs associated with inventories. Then effective inventory management will always say require assessing the requirement of inventory, the constraints of funding, require supply to be purchased whenever the budgetary allocations are made, the lead time or the transportation time, and the dealers lobby. We all know they have been playing catch with us. We They post a thing and the uh, corresponding 100 comments in that comment section are inbox please, price please, send me details over this number. This is the way we actually say fall prey to bargain buys. So we have to realize this aspect. So I hope the record keeping part was pretty much clear to you, which I intended to make it simplify. So do feel free to ask me. I'll be giving my contact in the end uh, if you have any queries about that. So the only thing you have to understand, do not issue two receipts to one patient. If you are issuing one, you have to merge and manually collate both the receipts. So why we need to be aware of our expenses? Because a small leak can sink a great ship. Benjamin Franklin fondly said this line. So these small little expenses can be actually very detrimental to our progress. So up next is the personal finance part, the second part of my say webinar today. So the funding, the saving, and the benefit, how to manage the personal finance. So financial records actually show us the real picture, and record keeping is a mirror of the cash flow. And records are actually a blueprint to our progress as well. So as I said, I asked you about a figure in percentage. Now I am going to ask you about a number in rupees. How much carry home you consider gratifying? 50,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh. How much is your, of course, greed has no limit. But what is the bare minimum expense you need to carry home? Do a reverse planning from here. That I need to carry this much amount. I need to do this much patients at this cost to recover that. And which you will patients you will do, which is your forte, which is has been contributing to your 80% income. Maintain a balance of that, increase charges in that, treat more effectively, concentrate on that 20% of services, at least in these COVID times. I'm not saying negate other patients, but concentrate more on these so that at least your basic gratifying amount, which you need to run your, say, stove in the house, is continued. So the rising cost in the oral healthcare services, we all know what armamentarium or what costing is. The gloves are costing almost more than double right now what they were available 6 months back, along with the other hospital needed equipment, and the carry home amounts have decreased. So this is the time to actually reboot and reset clinic for economics. एंड मैनेजिंग पर्सन फाइनेंसेस इज लाइक ए जिगसॉ पजल. जो समझ गया वो तर गया, जो नहीं समझा वो डूब गया. जो समझ जाएगा ठीक है, नहीं तो अदरवाइज you'll be left with a bleeding balance sheet or a red balance sheet or a negative or a loss balance sheet. So managing personal finances is as important as your treatment or as your clinic part. Unfortunately, we have to rely on our CS for such part, to whom we don't disclose the true figures. The problem is this. So what are the other aspects? Of course, I'll be giving you the formula and other aspects as well. How to take advantage of your business expenses. So the only thing is you have to show your actual numbers on the right. As I showed you the balance sheet, the right side was the professional income, the left side was the expenses part. This is the professional receipts, which you have to show the actual number. The problem is that we show our income as let's suppose our actual income is 20, 20, and we are showing our income as 12. Let's suppose around 60% we are showing, the rest 40% we are showing as black income. But this is not our story, but the story of the most of Indian population. Why I can say so very say confidently? Because the ITR data shows it. And let's suppose our income, our expenses we have kept at 6 rupees or are at say 8 rupees. So what we are doing is We are showing a profit of rupees 4. 12 minus 8, 4. Whereas this profit should have been 12 because we have concealed 8 rupees of income. 12 minus 20 minus 12. So if you are having more, if you are showing more, you can invest for your future. You can earn out of that. Remember, there is nothing called as a white or a black account. एक नंबर खाता, दो नंबर खाता नहीं होता. A account, B account नहीं होता. With the linkage of Aadhaar and PAN, or bank accounts are A accounts, एक number accounts or white accounts. They are not black. Whether you want to believe it or not, it is up to you. Because this is the way the government has done it. And as per the 2018, November 2018 Supreme Court ruling was there after 1 year or so, that it is not mandated to link Aadhaar with PAN in bank account. The RBI data by there itself says 90%, 90% of the bank accounts have already been linked with Aadhaar and PAN. The 10% which are not being linked are either dormant, deceased, or transferred accounts or NRI accounts, which are untraceable. So already all your accounts are linked with it, and there are a lot of changes made by in the past 6 months as well by the finance ministry, by the IT department. The IT forms are revised, the form 26As is being revised. So you don't know, actually government is keeping a tab of every penny of yours. If you have been indulging in a say investment like a Bitcoin and you haven't added that into your income, you if you think that the government is not keeping a tab on it, you are actually mistaken. So बैंक की भाषा में बात करें तो अगर आपका कैरी होम मोर होगा, that is the way you can increase your capital account. What is capital account? I'll show you. And capital account बड़ा होगा, strong होगा, तो जो उसको बैंक की भाषा बोलते हैं, इसके कागज मजबूत हैं. His papers are strong. His balance sheet is very good. Otherwise, it is a weak balance sheet. It is a red balance sheet. This is the way. Let me show you those 2 pages I have talked. We call as 2 pages of I&E and balance sheet. These are 2 A4 size pages. The top half of the first page, the income and the expenditure of our clinic. Go down to this page. I'll be showing you. Sorry, I'll be showing you in coming slides. So the earlier you streamline expenses, the sooner you'll solve this conundrum. So blocking your money and storage space with unwanted gadgets and materials is not a good choice at all. So economically speaking, the same money can be used in building up your retirement corpus. How? I'll tell you. So look at your selling points vividly, as I discussed in the last webinar. Don't get lured when you get a new expensive material, and biggest losses are in small to medium. Cut down the losses from them. How to take advantage? Take advantage of these cash payment rules by Government of India. Giving loan, paying back your loan, or taking loan from anyone above 20,000 needs to be in a digital format. You can't do it in cash. Any clinic expense above 10,000, of course, in our case per month, because if we have kept a monthly cycle, per month cannot be more than 10,000 in cash. 10,000 1 rupee has to be in digital mode. Any donation above 2,000, any donation to NGO, for any donation to any say social cause above 2,000 cannot be in cash. These are the 3 payment rules you have to take advantage. If you don't do that, especially the 10,001, remember, in an audit, your expenses can be disallowed. You will not be allowed to show them as your expenses. What will that mean? Your expenses are disallowed, your income will increase. You have to pay more income tax on that point, which you were actually supposed to say adjust in your expenses. So you're paying income tax on that. Plus you'll pay some penalty on that as well. There is an income rule of 2 lakh as well. You cannot say take more than 2 lakhs from a patient in cash. Many people do a FMR case and show half side one payment, half side one payment, and take, let's suppose, 4 lakh rupees, 2 lakh in cash. Remember, you're fooling yourself. Full mouth rehabilitation, patient will ask you for a bill, And the title will itself suggest full mouth rehabilitation. When you're doing full mouth, there is nothing called as right or left. If somebody has fooled you, even if you're CA, kindly get your facts corrected. So I was showing you this top half of this income and expenditure. The bottom half of the same page is, as just see, the bottom figures are depreciation, surplus, interest income, similar carried overhead. The bottom figure is the capital account. Capital account is also known as your Jama Punji. If I say in one line, it is known as the net worth of the individual. So this is the capital account. So for example, whatever profit, what is the profit out of this? Your total income was 6,75,000. You added interest income from bank, 7,26,000. Your expenses were 328. You added depreciation, your expenses became 4,02,000. So 726 minus 324 minus 402 would be 324. 3,24,000 is the profit. That is the profits we carry forward to our capital account. When we make a balance sheet, this is our net profit. A balance sheet is very vital. Whenever the bank will ask you, you ask the bank for a loan or apply for a visa or apply for a similar thing, the first thing everyone will ask you ITR of the past 2 or 3 years. And a balance sheet of this value carries almost nil. 18 lakh is nothing for a balance sheet. The second page is known as the balance sheet. The liability and the asset account, as we say. The left side is the liability, the right side is the asset. Your total bank deposits, your saving banks, your current account, your cash in hand, then your fixed assets, your medical dental equipments, furniture and fixture, computer equipments, electrical assets, laptop and whatever. Again, your clinic fixed armamentarium. So take advantage of depreciation. I gave you an example. You're buying, let's suppose, a HEPA filter for rupees 1 lakh. You're allowed a depreciation of, and most of the equipment, as I said, come with a depreciation of 15%. So you're allowed a costing of 15,000 only to be added into that. And that too, if you buy before 3rd October. Why do I say so? Because depreciation comes with a different slab, 5%, 10, 15, 40, 60. Most medical dental equipment come at 15% value. Furniture and fixtures at 10%, electrical fixtures at 15%. These include your glow sign boards as well. Computer and laptop used to be 60, now it is at 40. And land and building at 5%. So I mentioned 3rd October because the clause in depreciation is simple. Out of 365, 180 days of the year remaining. 3rd October is the 185th day of the year. After 4th October, the day is 186. So less than 180 days are remaining. For a leap year, the same cutoff can be 4th October because February has 29 days. And remember, I'm talking from the year from April to March. So February will be the 11th month of the year. So even if you buy on the last day of the year, you will be allowed 50% depreciation. So as I said, if you buy before 3rd October, you get full depreciation. If you buy after 3rd October, you will get half depreciation. So that means what you were allowed 15%, you will get 7.5%. So even if you buy on 31st March, you will get 7.5%, means 50% of the depreciation is allowable to you. So practice management without the knowledge of finance is a big zero. We all like to accumulate wealth from more and more patients, but are least bothered where that wealth goes. And sources are only important if you know how to use them effectively. And the root cause of all this is lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge about personal finance. So we have to develop the habit of saving. To enjoy a long, comfortable retirement life, save more today. As I said, we most of us are self-employed. We will not have a pension accorded to us. So we have to carve out for our own future ourselves. So colleagues who are charging less just to say in that wit to do one-upmanship with each other, they better realize that this is a way they are digging a grave for themselves. So for managing personal finances, the basics of FIRE have to be understood. Don't worry, I'm not transporting you into the Stoneman era. So FIRE means financial independence and early retirement for your alternate RIP. Many of you will ask, what is this RIP? RIP means rest in peace. What is this alternate RIP? This is a term coined by me only. So I always say plan for your alternate RIP means retirement investment planning before you actually rest in peace. Plan for it. You don't have a pension, you don't have a fixed income unless you have an ancestral asset with you, where the free income is flowing in. Then it's okay. Otherwise, for most of us, we have to earn from our clinic only. So for that, for managing the finance, you have to understand the primary budgeting rule. The universally applicable budgeting rule is the 50-30-20 rule. And this is the income after your clinic expenses. We have presumed 2 lakh. We have presumed 50% of expenses. Carry home amount is 1 lakh. So for that 1 lakh, we're applying the 50-30-20 rule. What does the 50-30-20 rule say? 50% of your income will go towards your necessities like housing, bills, your cost of living, if I may say so. And the 30% is according to your wants, your vacation, your dining, your multiplex, your dining out, or your entertainment, or whatever way you can say. And then 20% of the same goes towards paying off your debt or saving for your retirement. As a golden rule, it is said that people who are actually having, say, 4 decades of income, like our other colleagues of 10 plus 1 2 of arts and humanities and commerce, they have almost 4 decades from 22 to 62 to earn for their life. We as a dentist have actually, we start our career late. Our economic life cycle is flawed a bit. We start our regular life by 28, 29. Our incomes are very less at the start, and by the time we went into we get into the groove, it is almost 3 decades. And remember, I'm saying 3 decades, but it's not exactly. Our profession is not very kind to us. Some of us have to retire at 55. So that leaves us practically with 22 to 25 years, which is pretty less to earn for yourself. So as a rule for a common man, it is said that 10% of your income or your gross income should go into saving for your retirement. But for doctors and dentists, the same formula is 20%. And here we are devoting 20% from our net income, which is effectively 10%. As I said, this 20% is on 1 lakh. So the 50-30-20 rule can be like a Pareto rule, Pareto principle rule as well, 80-20 rule, which I discussed last time. So 20% towards your financial goals and 80% on everything else. That would be 50 and 30 combined, which I mentioned over here. Of course, we are carrying home less, but luckily our wants have also diminished. We are not eating out mostly. We are not going for a multiplex. We are not going for a vacation, at least not in the next 6 months for sure. So all these things are drastically cut down. And actually lockdown showed us reality that where we have been splurging our income on, and we actually cut down on our expenses. So even if we are carrying home less, we are actually using this amount less. So as I said, this is after deducting your clinic expenses, 40 to 55, 40 to 60, whatever figure you presume. I have presumed that figure throughout my both the webinars at 50%. So I'll stick to that. So as I said, 2 lakhs is your gross, your 1 lakh clinic expenses at 50%, remaining is 1 lakh. So out of that, 50,000 necessities, 30,000 wants, and 20,000 is alternate trip. So what I said, out of 2 lakhs, practically 10%. So we are living or saving like a common man. Whereas we should not do that, because we are supposed to save 20% of the gross minimum, because simply because we have 1 decade less than our colleagues. So perfect saving ratio or the ideal saving ratio is 30 to 35%, which is 60 to 70% or 60 to 70,000. But if I go by this universal rule of 50-30-20, I have allotted only 20% out of that, which means it is 10% from the gross income. So what to do? As I said, rule of thumb says 20% is to be given. So by that formula, minimum 40,000 has to be given for your say retirement savings or for your alternate RIP. So you need to understand. So for this, I have alternative to the 50-30-20 rule, the magical Bhavdeep formula, going by my name. So going with the same lines as 50-30-20, I have devised a new formula. Like I have given the formula for the treatment charges in the last. In this, I'm giving you a rule for the 45-15-40 rule for the dentist. A similar rule, which I may say. So 45% of your income is for necessities, 15 towards your wants, 40 towards your paying off your debt or paying or towards your financial goals or for saving for your retirement. What I did, I just took off 5% from here, 15 from here, added 20 over here. And that is the way I have allocated the optimum desired amount. People ask me, मैं minimum sir कितना invest करूं, मैं start कर रहा हूं. I always say minimum 30 to 40,000 per month. So that would mean minimum 4 to 5 lakhs a year. Of course, not in all in mutual funds, all in different part. Again, how to invest, where to invest is a story for a different day altogether. So 40 from net means that 20 from gross. Exactly. Going by my formula, which is a must. So if you go by my formula, don't let the money go in vain. You gross 2 lakhs, 1 lakh at 50% is your clinic expense. The remaining 1 lakh which you're carrying home. 45,000 for your cost of living, 15,000 for splurging out, and 40,000 on your alternate RIP. This is the formula I want all of you to get stuck with. This is the formula I love you that you all get stuck with. If you want a comfortable retirement life, life is very uncertain. We have to remember that. So budgeting is always the basic for investment, saving, banking, costs. So let me just give you a few avenues for growth and passive income. If you think of say financial stability, what are the second income sources? What can they be? Mutual funds, FDRs, NCDs, non-convertible debentures as we call them, corporate bonds. Then doctor's favorite used to be property, PPF, post office schemes, NPS, National Pension System, or new pension scheme, or new national pension scheme, whatever you can call it, commodity trading. Every investment comes with a side effect. No investment is side effect free. So every sector will require white money. Property hardly returns you 0.5%. And anyways, the money is blocked. Property 4-5 साल से बंदे में चल रही है. This is the reason, because the white money is there. First demonetization happened, then GST happened, and then the financial bill or in IT Act has been continuously amended by the Modi government. So why do I say so 0.5%? Because you buy a shop for 1 crore and you barely get a 50,000 rent, which is just about 5%, 0.5%. So you can grow more in white. Need to understand the difference between an expectation and a reality. We hope for a windfall of income, which does not happen actually. So the bottom line, if you earn well, pay good tax, show more in white, make that white money grow more for you. Why do I say so? Because you are actually losing out on two counts. You kept the money in an investment source or maybe in a bank. It is earning at some percentage. The other money which you have kept at home is going down in value. Rupees 1,000 in 2010 carries a value of 710 rupees. It has gone down by almost 29%. So that money is going down in value. So you're losing out on two counts going by the theory of relativity. We all know the theory of relativity by Einstein. Two trains going in opposite direction on parallel tracks at the speed of 80. The person in train A, when the trains are passing by, the person in train A will feel that the second train is going at the speed of 160 and his train is stagnant. So this is the same applicable to over here. We are not making that our white money grow. We are concealing the money in our commode, in our false ceiling, in our sofa, in our bed, in our pillow covers, in our almiras, in whatever, in our taikhana or whatever place you are fond of doing it. We are actually devaluing that money, what it could have earned. So make that white money grow more for you. If you don't pay tax, you will still have money, but black, dead, and blocked. The choice is yours. Demonetization में क्या हुआ? Everybody got the money changed from 15 to 35%. Somebody paid 100 and got back 85. Somebody paid 100 and got 65. So that was the range that you paid as the commission or the buyback for your old notes, which were defunct, which were no longer valid. Remember, पैसे चेंज करवा के परसेंटेज 15-20%, 30%, 35% दे के what you got back was still black money. And if you had paid tax on that and kept that money in bank, you have earned for that much amount of years, and then you would not have lost out on that percentage as well. And even today now, if you have not say shown that money still is in black. So the choice is absolutely yours. What most people think, that money grows in a line. The more money you have, the more you make. No. What rich people actually know and do it, that money grows exponentially. And after a certain period of time, money starts making money itself. You have to remember this. My dad used to say, tell me, PPF में I do mixed balance investments all over. So my dad used to tell me, आप उस दिन PPF में डालना बंद करना जब आपकी इंस्टॉलमेंट से ज़्यादा आपको इंटरेस्ट आने लग जाए. So that is the bottom line. The money starts growing. This is the power of compounding. So for becoming rich, managing your personal finances, invest optimum, have a minimum term plan of 1 crore along with a similar disability insurance of same amount, along with a professional indemnity or a liability insurance, as we say, mediclaim of 5 lakhs, some real estate if you can to give you a rental income, emergency funding of 5 lakhs, 2 to 6 lakh. We all were stripped naked in this COVID-19. Most of us, after 1 month of lockdown, were actually worried. Where will our money come from? From where will we run our houses? From where will we run our clinics? We didn't just have an emergency fund. Some gold and silver also, minimum of 5 lakhs. Any other income source, rental, pension, money back, endowment plans. So to inspire yourself, inspire others, you must inspire firstly yourself. So how to find a good investment? Buy something that is not in the news. You should be confident of holding this investment for at least 10 years. You want to buy this investment when the market is crashing. Don't buy the investment when friends and family are talking about it. Always do a fundamental and technical analysis before buying. This is just a tip for you. So the summary for today is, don't spend more than what you can make. Don't go into debt to impress others, a FOMO and a YOLO approach. Remember, FOMO approach is fear of missing out. The YOLO approach is you only live once. मैं हमेशा यही बोलता हूँ, FOMO वालों, YOLO वालों, यागो भी आएगा. Yago means you also grow old. Who will pay money for your retirement? So actively invest and track your cash flow. Don't buy depreciating assets like luxury cars, which are actually decreasing in value. So we all should strive to retire early. It is very difficult to lead a sorrowful old life asking for money from kids. Self-dependence is the biggest gift we can give ourselves. Think about it. The future is in your hands. Want to burn or break your back and neck continuously? Be financially literate. We have to pick financial literacy as our topic in our life. The earlier you start, the better it is for you. So start with the basics, slowly go on building that. Always remember that financial literacy will come in handy. And always remember, an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. Again, a quote by Benjamin Franklin. So the world of finance is a puzzle for most people. There are so many investments, people will say. Again, I've not taken up, just touched the brief part in the climax part of my presentation. So again, there are a lot many avenues to choose from. Many people don't understand. Remember, for understanding finance, you need to understand the basics first. You need to understand the banking part of finance. You need to understand the tax part, or the income tax part of that, and yes, further investment part, if you can say, or the stock market trading. So these are the 4 or the 5, if you may say so. If you divide 4 into 2 parts, these are the 2 avenues which you need to understand the basics part. So the goals have to be ultimately financial stability. Remember, like the Chennai Express, I also started from the climax. The first slide was financial freedom. So my goals, financial stability. This is the moral of story for today. So thank you so much for a patient hearing. I hope I've stuck to my time. So before I leave for questions, I'll be taking up say giving a few announcements. So this is my YouTube channel going by my name. If you forget, go to YouTube and search Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja. Hit the bell icon and subscribe. Subscribe and hit the bell icon because I have been posting videos very regularly. Already 80 plus videos are there, and I'll be posting more than 15 videos in the upcoming week. They're all ready. So do subscribe and get benefited. This is a channel exclusively for dentists, not for my patients. And this is my part of giving back to the society, to my profession, which has given me so much. So this is my contact. Anybody wishes to get in touch with me can. So my social media presence going by my name. All my profiles are by my name, Dr. Bhavdeep, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And if somebody is interested in reading, I am writing a regular column for Idea Times. So almost say the fourth year is nearing its culmination. It started on January 17, part 44 was published in August 2020. So these are all available on my website. The direct link is given ideatimes.html. So you can download the same from there. All the parts are very small KB size files. Then if somebody is interested in reading about finance, I have the finance series of WGSR available. I've published 16 parts. 6 parts are coming next month in September first week. So it'll be 22 parts by the 10th of September. So you can download them as well. They again are all 5,000 worded articles each for information for colleagues to understand the basics parts if you are interested in learning. So as another payback to the society, I run WhatsApp group. I had intended to keep those at 5. The 5 are totally full now. So I've made a 6th one temporary, which is also into this thing. This is a free WhatsApp group. Again, I have a paid group as well. But again, that is out of the context of this. If anybody wishes to join a practice management and finance group, which is being run by me, we share less, but whatever we share is meaningful. And it is a totally ad-free group. Even my own lectures and workshops, which I take for the monetary purpose, are not shared in over there. So do send me a feedback. It is very important for creativity, for authors like me, for say presenters like me. It really helps in evaluating where we are going wrong or right. And I will appreciate if you place the same in the comment section of the WDA page where this live feed is streaming. So bouquets and brickbats, if you want to send me personally, you are most welcome to do so as well. So bouquets and brickbats both would be welcome in equal measure. So thank you once again, and I stop my share for questions, whatever you have posted in the comment section.
Thank you, Dr. Bhavdeep, for the wonderful presentation. It was mind blowing and eye opener. Though I have heard a lot of your wisdom over the years, and have been following your way of managing finances a lot, which I heard from you even before you had started even speaking regularly. From what I gather, there's only one question which I can see, which is there. Rest, I think it was very informative. There's a question from Dr. Amit Arun Tipnis. So when we try to upgrade, we really fall back in terms of finances and savings are in doldrums. What is your point on that?
Sorry, I
When
didn't
we
get
try to
that.
upgrade, we fall back in terms of finances and the savings are in doldrums.
We have to really understand that what way we are adopted to that. The best way is to always go about in a sequential manner. Best way is to always go in increments. Let's suppose you plan to buy something in Exprint Delhi at the end of the year. Start planning for that in the January next before that. So go on incrementally, say depositing towards that. If you are in an urgent requirement of the equipment and also don't want to go in for a loan, take a loan from your family. Your family is always handy for you to support it. Once your family comes in to support you, you can pay them back in the same way you had planned to raise the finance for the same purchase in December. So it is always essential that you don't say indulge in an impulsive buy first and incrementally plan it. If not incrementally planned, you want to buy it immediately because you need the purpose for the same is right now. So you can take a loan from your family. So that is the best way I can advise you actually.
Thank you once again, Bhavdi. I think there are no more questions. The presentation was self-explanatory, and if there are, somebody can always get back to you with your numbers and on your web pages and everything. So thank you once again from World Dental Association, and thank you very much for this wonderful
Thank you
presentation.
once again. The pleasure was all mine. I really appreciate large-heartedness of WDA in conducting all these webinars in this lockdown and keeping the dental fraternity abreast with all the latest knowledge in whatever way they can, actually in the little way, and absolutely in a non-commercial manner. That is the one thing which really impresses me a lot. So as I said, I have also two requests. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is for you guys only. It is not for any monetary purpose. And if you want to join WhatsApp group for knowledge payback, you can join that as well. So thank you so much. Thank you for a patient hearing. So love to see you again very soon. Something is in pipeline with me, Anant and Abhishek discussing over it. So we'll get back to you with a new exciting series in the coming months of September or October very soon. So see you guys. Take care. Bye bye.